There are hundreds, if not thousands, of articles out there already about the hiking essentials. It's a list that dates back to 1930. I'm not going to rehash that list, but what I am going to do is I'm going to show you what my day hiking essentials are through the gear that I use. And this is gear that I've tested over hundreds of miles hiking out in the trail. No one has paid me to talk about this stuff. This is just the stuff that I really use and believe in. Now, if you're liking the video, if you want to get some of this gear, you can use my links to support the channel. I'll put all of this gear on my page. Just search for Hiking Guy Best Hiking Gear or go to HikingGuy.com /gear and you will find all of these. And if there's something new that replaced one of the items I'm talking about, I will put it on that page as well. If you're finding the video helpful, if you can give me a thumbs up, I appreciate it. I will give you one of these back. So thank you for watching. And yeah, let me share this gear with you because I really like my setup now. Now, when I'm talking about the hiking essentials, I'm talking about what you need to bring with you on a day hike in order to stay comfortable, safe. And for me, I like to bring some basic gear and a little survival kit so that I can stay overnight if I have to. If you have to call for a rescue, it could be an overnight thing. Maybe you need to wait to the morning till you have sunlight in order to continue. Whatever it may be, there's a pretty basic kit, not pots and pans and tents, but a pretty basic lightweight kit that I bring with me just to help protect from the elements and keep me comfortable for an overnight stay if I need to. The first thing worth mentioning are my shoes. I've been using these Hoka Speedgoat 5s. They are great, great shoes. I used to use the Lone Peak 6s and the Hoka Stinsons, and these are a great cross between those two shoes. They're lightweight, they dry quickly, they've got a decent stack height, a very low heel to toe drop, and overall for the trail, they're just super comfortable. Now there is a trick because these run narrow and they generally don't let your toe box or your toes sort of splay out when you step down. So you're gonna wanna get these, basically if you're narrow, get them in a wide and get them a half size bigger, and that will allow your feet to swell and not get too much rubbing in these. Now if you're already used a wide, maybe you want to go up one full size, I'm not really sure, but for a regular foot, going too wide, half size up on the Hoka Speedgoat 5s is the move. I love these shoes. There are some other good shoes out there, and I have some reviews on my website, but right now I've been using these Speedgoats, no complaints there. The other thing I always bring with me is the Garmin inReach Mini 2. There's a few different satellite communicators out there right now, but I think this one is the best. This to me is the gold standard. It's got a long battery life. It's rugged. You can use it without your phone. You could just use it with the buttons on here. You can get weather. You can do non-emergency communications. You can leave a breadcrumb trail. A lot of great safety features on here and a lot of great useful tools for when you're in the backcountry. That said, there are more options, more affordable options now. Just go to my channel. I review a bunch of these different ones. You can also use this to send an emergency SOS in the backcountry. Right now, it's only on the iPhone 14. It'll be on the 15 too, I'm pretty sure. Maybe some other models, but this is effective. I've tested this on the channel as well. It works really well. And you can also do some basic location sharing, but not much more than that. But if you have an iPhone 14, you kind of have this already. But otherwise, if you just want the best and you want to be able to text back and forth, Garmin inReach Mini 2 is my pick. For backpacks, I've got two go-to backs. My first choice is the Z-Packs Sub Nero 30. About as heavy as 10 ping pong balls. It's effectively waterproof. You don't need a pack line or a pack cover. It's really simple, it's really minimal, and it's sort of an acquired taste. It's something that you use maybe if you're a more advanced hiker, you know exactly what you want. The other pack I use all the time is the Osprey Stratos 24, which has a trampoline back, and I really love it. It keeps me cool. I'll generally wear that when it's hotter out, or if I'm carrying a bigger load, I'll use my Stratos. Otherwise, I will use this Sub Nero. I have videos for both of these on my channel, more in-depth reviews, so you can check those out. I do have this little carrier on the front here that I use to carry a smart water bottle. Now, I used to use a hydration bladder. I like the Osprey bladder a lot, but I've switched to smart water bottles. You can get these at any gas station, pretty much in the country, probably around the world, the same sort of form factor. And it's really easy to fit a water filter to the top. So if you can find water along your hike, you don't need to carry as much. And what I use for a water filter is the Sawyer Squeeze. And this is really simple, really affordable. And all you do is you just thread it on to the top of the water bottle like this, and then you just squeeze and you can drink it out of your mouth. Really easy, really simple. These things are super durable. And again, you can get them anywhere. They're affordable. You can bring a bunch of empty ones. You could buy new ones. You can recycle them, whatever you want to do. Another trick that I like is to get these smaller sport flip ones. Take the top off of this and then screw it onto the bigger 1 liter bottles. And then you have an easy, convenient way to drink water when you're out there. So smart water bottles is what I'm going with these days. But if you do want to get a bladder, I do drink more when I have a bladder. I really like the Osprey bladder. But either way, you want to stay hydrated. Generally, in the summertime, I'm taking 3 liters for 12 miles. In the wintertime, less than that. That's my general rule of thumb. I don't always use trekking poles, but when I do, I like these Black Diamond Alpine cork poles. I love the cork. It's the best thing when your hand gets sweaty. They're really durable. They've got this locking mechanism on the bottom. It's, they're pretty bulletproof and they're lightweight. You can't really go wrong with these. If you want something a little bit lighter, these Distance Z poles from Black Diamond are good. I mean, it's a fraction of the weight of the other one. It folds. There's no locking mechanism, so you have to get the specific height that you want. But these work really well. Like I said, I use them sometimes I don't. They're good on the downhills for me and when I'm crossing streams and doing something that's like a little balance intensive. But these days I don't use them much. It might just be because I'm filming a lot out on the trail. But what you could do is just put one of these in your backpack in a side pocket, and then if you need it to cross a stream or something, you can use it. And if not, you don't have to. One thing worth mentioning while I go through my gear here from my pack is that if you want to organize it, what I like to do is use these Ziploc bags. You can also use stuff sacks. Sea to Summit has a really nice lightweight stuff sack, but you can buy a bag of these for $5 and have 20 of them, and they work just as well. They're waterproof. They might not last as long, but it is what it is. But this is how I like to keep things organized in my backpack. Now, when it comes to navigation, I have a few different tools because I want some redundancy. I realize that navigating is a very important part of staying safe and knowing where I am. If the conditions are good, I will use my smartphone. This is an iPhone 14. 3 apps that I like right now. All Trails is great for getting feedback on trails, recent posts, trail reports. Gaia GPS is great because there's tons and tons of map layers. If you get premium, you can get National Geographic maps. You can get overlays for wildfire, wind, weather, cell coverage, almost everything you can imagine here. But you need the premium membership. I put my phone in airplane mode and then download the maps download the maps first and then put it in airplane mode before I go hiking. And then also I like Onyx because it kind of lives somewhere in between. The interface is real easy to use and it's just real easy to download offline maps with that. I'll also get a GPX file, which is a breadcrumb trail of the hike somewhere online, or I'll build one maybe in a website called CalTopo, and then I will download that. I'll just drag it into my desktop version of Gaia GPS and sync it to my phone. I'll also just put it on iCloud so that it gets synced to my phone. And that seems to work great most of the time when it's nice out, but when it's not nice out, I go with a handheld GPS device like this Garmin GPS Map 67. This comes built for the outdoors. It's rugged, it's waterproof, you can kind of smash it. But more importantly for me, you don't need a touchscreen to use it. Touchscreens are really hard to use when it rains out. This works perfectly. The buttons have tactile feedback, and it's built to be used with gloves in the rain and all kinds of harsh conditions, and it comes preloaded with maps on there, so I don't have to sync any maps to it. I just have to sync my course in there. Even if I don't, the maps have trails on it and I could figure out a way to get home. You can do all kinds of navigation on the fly with the handheld GPS that you can't easily do on a phone or an Apple Watch. But either way, it depends on the kind of hiking you're doing. I have reviews for hiking apps and GPS units on my website, so check those out. My backup, maybe my backup or maybe my primary, depending on what I'm doing, it is the Garmin Epix Pro 51 millimeter. This is a new one. I'm going to have a review on this soon. But this also comes preloaded with maps. It's rugged. It works in the outdoors. And it's just a few simple steps to sync my GPX file onto here. And I'll get turn-by-turn prompts if I want to. And it's just another backup tool to have in case I get lost, because for me, knowing where I am is important. And then of course, you're always going to want to bring paper maps with you. And it doesn't have to be a complicated arrangement where you have a compass. I do recommend learning how to use your compass, and I carry one with me, but I don't use it much. I do use the paper maps quite frequently. I love the National Geographic, the Tom Harrison ones, but Again, I'll make a video on navigation later, but you don't need to get too complicated with it. If you're keeping track of where you are, you know, okay, I just passed the trail junction for this, and I'm going to the trail junction for that, or I'm going to this peak. It's usually fairly simple to look at a map and see where those trail junctions are and just kind of place yourself roughly on the map so that you can use it to get out or do whatever you need to do spatially. So bring a paper map with you all the time. You can't rely on electronics. Even if it's a durable thing like this, you know, I wouldn't rely on it. Now, to keep everything charged, I have two solutions that I use. The first is from my iPhone. This is an Anker MagSafe battery, and it just snaps onto the back of my iPhone so I can continue to use my phone while it charges. This is real handy, and this will charge it at least once, if not a little bit more. And it also has this little handy stand here where you can like fold it and look at it if you want. That's a little extra, but this also has a little port, a USB-C. I bring one of these short cables and plug it in, so I can not only charge my phone via MagSafe, but I can also use this to charge things like my headlamp or a camera or whatever it might be. So this is really good if you're an iPhone user. Otherwise, I bring this Nightcore 10,000 milliamp battery pack. Now, this is more expensive than the other ones you can find on Amazon, but it's the smallest, most lightweight one that you can get. I mean, this is my hand. This is a 10,000 amp pack here. So it's pretty small, it's pretty compact, and it's been working great. A little bit of an investment. If you don't want to get this, there are, you know, dozens of just cheapo battery packs that you can get off Amazon. And, you know, just make sure you have something just in case you have to stay out overnight. And again, make sure you put your phone into airplane mode when you go at a cell phone range, because the thing that chews a phone down very quickly is constantly looking for a cell phone signal or tower. One switch that I made this year is I switched my headlamp to this Nightcore NU25 headlamp. It's very small, it's very lightweight, it's just simple. It's really just what you need in a headlamp. I had some problems with the other headlamps, like turning on accidentally or the door opening and the batteries coming out, just different little things like that. And I realized that most headlamps are overbuilt. They just really need to be like this little square with a button on it, and I think you'll be okay. And then there's just some bungee on the back with a little clamp like this that you can use to secure it to the back of your head. It's just simple, it's lightweight, it charges with USB-C, and you know, I've been very, very happy with this. You don't really need any more than this thing. When it comes to food, I just try to stay healthy and get things that are nutritionally dense. I like salted nuts, a healthy trail mix, so dried fruits and nuts. These Pro bars are pretty good, they're pretty healthy. You can pick up these Lara bars almost in any supermarket here in the States. So there's a few healthy options, but I just try to keep it simple. I know that I'm going through a lot of calories. I don't try to do any kind of crazy dietary stuff, just want something simple, dense, that gives me energy. I don't use like traditional gels anymore, but there are these gels, I think it's Muir Energy, like John Muir. They're all natural. They're made from, you know, like figs and fruits and things like that. And if I'm doing a hike where I might need some extra little boost going up a tough climb or something, I'll bring a couple of those gels with me. But otherwise, you know, I kind of keep it pretty simple in terms of food. Now, I have a mishmash of clothing. There's a lot of great clothing out there. If I just had to pick like the best, if I was just going to get one thing, the cool Renegade convertible pants are great. They're rugged, they're durable, they're lightweight. They kind of feel like stretchy pants when you're hiking around, so you can climb and scramble with them. I get the convertible ones because I use them as shorts when I need to, but I also carry the leg part in my backpack with me so that if it gets cold out or if I'm stuck out overnight, it's easy enough just to zip this guy back on, and now I have a long pant. Or even if I'm bushwhacking and I, you know, don't expect to be torn to pieces, or I don't want to get torn to pieces, this is great. Same thing with the shirts. I'll go with a long sleeve. I wear button-down long sleeves. Sometimes I like to be able to control the temperature. The long sleeve is nice because you can roll the sleeves up and then put them back down if you need to. If I had to pick one, I like this cool hoodie right here, which gives you a little bit of sun protection and also protection from the cold. It does a good job of keeping you cool when it's hot and keeping you warm when it's not. And it's got, you know, long sleeves as well. But this is a great top if you're just going to get one. If you want to keep something simple, or if you want to just have a layer underneath this, the REI t-shirts are great choices. They're really durable. They wick sweat away really well, and can't complain about those. For socks, I've been using the Darn Tough socks for years and years. This pair is from 2006, so this is probably ready to go to the Smithsonian. but you could see these are I think the micro crew cushion, but they just go on forever. They feel good. They wick away moisture. I don't have really blister problems with these. I just wear these with my Hokas, and I don't have to do anything special. There's no talc or Niji, toe socks. I don't do any of that anymore. Just these with the Hokas sized a little bit bigger, and I don't have any blisters. So that's a good move. In terms of sun protection for your head, obviously if you have a hoodie, you can wear this. I like wearing a visor, and this is an outdoor research visor. Why do I go with the visor? A couple reasons. Number one, I get shade so my eyes don't get blown out, when I'm in the sun. This is super lightweight. This part acts as a headband, so when I'm sweating uphill, this will, wick away the moisture, and it also allows the top of my head to breathe. So if I'm hot, I want the headband, I want the visor here, the bill, but I can still breathe on top, and this seems to work well. What I do is when it's cold out, instead of wearing a hat, like a trucker hat or a baseball hat, I combine this with a beanie. This is a Merino 150, and I just put this on top, and now I have kind of like a warmer alternative to that. And if it's colder, I'll wear a 250 beanie. The 150 is the lighter weight, the 250 is the heavier weight, but this seems to work really well for me, and it keeps the sun off me. In terms of sun protection, that's one of the essentials. I'll use a sunscreen on my arms and legs, and I just pick up any kind of healthy looking one from Walmart or Target or something like that. I think I have a Neutrogena now. But that's what I do for sun protection, and I never had any type of skin cancer scares or anything. So clothing wise, those are my picks. One thing also worth mentioning about sun protection, I don't wear sunglasses all the time because I just like to see the outdoors as it is. But sometimes when it's really bright, when you're up in the mountains and you're in the desert, your eyes can get blown out. I think it's called snow blindness. There's some fancy word for it. But anyway, your eyes get blown out and then it's hard to see. And if I feel like that might be a possibility, I will just put these Oakleys on. They're super lightweight. They won't shatter into my eye if I fall or anything. And they just work well. It's not really a burden to carry these because they're light and they're quality glasses. But don't use it all the time. But when I have them, I really appreciate them. You might have noticed all these bugs swarming around me here. This is the summer this year in Southern California. I used to use different types of insect repellents. I switched. Don't use DEET. If you don't know, DEET is a chemical, and DEET can melt your backpack. It can melt the nylon in your backpack. So I don't use that on my skin anymore. And even the Picardin or Picardin, however you want to pronounce it, that's a chemical based on black pepper. But I try to avoid chemicals on my skin if I can. And this Murphy's Lemon Eucalyptus has been really good. It's keeping the bugs away from me. I get these little squeeze bottles and spray it on. It smells good and it works well. Sometimes the insects just get totally out of control, and then I use one of these head nets, and these are pretty ridiculous. It feels like you're on safari in 1920s or something, or maybe you want to rob a bank, right? Put this over your head like a piece of pantyhose. But this is very effective at keeping out the bugs and keeping them away from going into your eyes and your mouth. And when you combine it with a visor, like I'm going to do here, it gives your head or gives your face some room here so that the net is not right in your face. But anyway, that's what I use for the bugs to keep me safe. You can also just flip it up like this. New look for 2023. Bigger critters, if I feel like there are, or if I think there are dangers like grizzlies, if I'm hiking in the Rockies or whatever, I will bring counter assault bear spray. It's hard to get. Some places you can't get it anymore because people use it on police now, and they used it on January 6th and things like that. But that's kind of your best bet in bear country. It works on mountain lions, and also it works on humans. So if you have anxiety about animals being attacked by humans or whatever, getting a bear spray, practice with it first, clip it somewhere that's handy, and you should be all set. Also worth mentioning is the REI membership. This is not an REI video in any way, not sponsored by them or anything like that, but REI is a great place to buy your outdoor gear. They have a really generous return policy. They do a lot of good social things for the outdoors, but maybe more importantly is that you can buy a membership. It's $30, I think, for your lifetime, not for the year, for your lifetime. You buy the membership once, and then every year, the beginning of the new year, usually in March or so, you get what's called a dividend, and that's for most items you buy, you get 10% back in this dividend. So if you spend $2,000 on gear in a year, next year in March, you'd probably get a dividend gift card for $200 that you could spend at REI again. So it quickly pays for itself. You know, obviously, if you spend over $300 ever at REI, it will pay for itself. All right, let's talk about the survival kit, because that's what everyone really loves. They love survival, a good survival story. Two things I have in what I would call a survival kit. The first is not really survival, but I always bring a couple extra layers with me, enough to stay the night. All the time, what I will carry is I will carry rain pants. These are from REI. These are some nice rain pants here, waterproof, and this will also keep me warm. You can also, if you're really cold, you could stuff it with leaves and stuff, some organic material to be warm. But just in case it starts pouring out, I will carry these rain pants with me. And then likewise, I have a Black Diamonds rain shell. I tested out a lot of these rain shells. This one seems to fit the best. It's the best sort of balance of features and weight. I like this pull on the back, which will cinch the hood so that it stays peaked. It doesn't flop down in front of you. It stays like this. But this Black Diamond one is really, really good. Not the most expensive, not the cheapest, but I think overall the best value for the money. So I carry these things with me if I stay overnight. These things will keep me warm. And then another Ziploc bag for my emergency kit. Let's go through this. And the idea with this kit, you can see how small it is here, right? The idea is that if I had to stay overnight, this kit would allow me to do it somewhat comfortably, this in conjunction with those layers. First thing I have is this emergency bivy sack. This is basically a reflective little sleeping bag that will keep you warm. Again, you could stuff this with organic material like leaves in order to give yourself some extra warmth. If you're hiking in an area that is colder, you might want to opt for something a little bit bigger, but does the same thing. This is a sleeping bag liner, and you can get these so that they will give you 20, 30 degrees of warmth. So little sleeping bag. You can use this also when backpacking, but this is another good choice if you want to stay warm for the night and you know you're going to be in a colder environment. The other thing I have is this mini Z-Packs titanium blade here. Blades are kind of, I don't know, it's kind of fun, I guess, to carry a knife with you, but I don't find myself using a knife. Even a Swiss Army knife, which I carried for years, and a Leatherman, which I carried for years, the number of times that I used all of the doodads on there was about 0. So this is a knife that will help me, with a wound or cut a piece of gear or do any kind of work I need to do with a sharp blade, but it's not a whole production, it's just very lightweight and just does the job well. Whistle is always good. It's going to be an easy way to signal people if you are, lost in the brush or something. Lightweight, costs a couple bucks. Kind of a no-brainer. Some backpacks come with it on the sternum strap. If you have that, then you don't need this. This is a favorite gadget that I have. This is an emergency lighter. It's USB charged, so you can start a fire with it, charge it with your USB, and it's also got a flashlight on the back. So this is lightweight. I think this is worth its weight in gold. And again, if I need to charge this, I can just charge it with my USB charger. And also what I bring with me is a little piece of cordage. This works just if I need to repair gear, but it also works as tinder if I need to start a fire. This will light on fire pretty quickly. Also worth mentioning, I consider my inReach part of my emergency kit. That's the way I would signal an SOS. I have an inReach and an iPhone 14, so I have some redundancy on the satellite communicator front. But these are things that I would use if I had to wait or address something right away. Next, medical kit right here. I don't buy those big medical kits anymore because I think they're kind of overblown. You don't really need all that stuff, and this is much lighter. I have electrolyte chews, so if you are hiking and you just feel totally wiped out, even though you are staying hydrated, pop one of these guys. For some reason, this is sort of expensive, but they work really well. I have some antibiotic ointment in here, just one of them. If I was going longer, I'd take more. A couple Band-Aids, pretty simple. alcohol wipe to clean something up. And then I have a little thing of leukotape. This is basically a tape that you can put on like a bandage. It'll stick to your skin. I just take a piece off and roll it up. And then I also keep a roll of duct tape, which I can use to repair gear. And I can also use this on top of a blister or a wound to hold it shut. And that's what I bring in my medical kit. I'm sure some of you are going to say I need something else, but this has done me pretty good for the last 20 years or so. And I don't really think I need more if I'm going out for a day hike. All right, let's talk about the other emergency kit. This one. So you never know, obviously, when you have to go to the bathroom. I bring a trowel with me, and there's a lot of good ones out there, really lightweight. I found this one on Amazon that has this little nub up top, so when you press down, it doesn't hurt your hand as much. Works really well, really lightweight. I bring a mini roll of 1-ply toilet paper, and then just some hand sanitizer, and that generally does the job. I just put it all in a nice bag like this. That's the basic fair weather kit. Now I supplement that with stuff sacks filled with extra layers, and I bring those in the pack if something happens, like I'm going up to a mountain summit or I'm hiking somewhere cooler or wetter and I want to bring like a different level of layers and warmth. I will bring those. I'll put all the specs for those layers on the website. It's a little bit boring. One interesting thing is I'm using the Z-Packs umbrella, which is great for not only rain but also shade, but I'll put a link and a little write-up of that on the website. I also have some backpacking recommendations on the website. I've dialed that in pretty well in the last year, so I'm really happy with it, and I haven't really needed anything else. So I'll put that up there. I'll also maybe make a video about that in the future because some of you asked me about that. And if you have any questions or recommendations, just leave me a comment. I'm always trying to evolve the kit and find better and more effective tools for my hiking. So let me know what you're using. Maybe I'll be able to try it out as well. And guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the trails.